Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and today we're going to be reading Ask Reddit. Normal weight Redditors with a spouse who became obese. How do you handle it? Number 2. Leave a like on this video and subscribe for more weight loss stories. Also, comment Narwhal and I'll try to leave a heart on your comment. My ex-boyfriend of 4.5 years was kind of fat. When I met him, he was fairly large. Not obese, but I didn't mind too much. He made me laugh and I could have enjoyable conversations with him. With time, his personality started to fade and there wasn't too much left for me to be attracted to. I stuck around anyway. He tried to lose the weight and he managed to knock off about 40 pounds. Unfortunately, he gained it all back plus some, and his personality still hadn't changed. He was just a bumhole to so many people, including me at times. Again, he yo-yoed and lost the weight, only to gain it back. Around year 3 or 4 of our relationship, he started to become really self-conscious. He would wear t-shirts during mechs, and he was constantly putting down other fat people. He was reading a lot of bro science and got really into lifting weights, protein powders and all. He thought that this was his magic pill to getting an amazing body, but he wasn't changing his diet. He would sneak McDonald's and try to hide the wrappers. I never criticized his diet, only encouraged him during his weight loss and offered advice only when he asked. I guess he saw me as the food police at one point. Towards the end of our relationship, mind you he was about 6 feet and 240 pounds then, he started telling me, 5'9", 145 pounds, perfectly healthy for my height, that I was fat and needed to lose weight. He was criticizing me for not lifting weights as much as him and kept insisting that I needed to get a bum like Kim Kardashian. I felt pretty hurt and offended by his comments. The relationship didn't last much longer. I ended up dumping him last year because he became incredibly controlling and started making awful accusations about me. I'm definitely better off now. I met an amazing guy who shares similar diet and exercise habits as me. He's also confident in himself. It's such a nice change to not have to coddle somebody's ego all the time. Last I heard, my ex gained even more weight and tried to hook up with nearly every girl that went to his high school reunion recently. I'm gonna weigh in on this one. See what I did there? Because I'm seeing a lot of backlash against people who say, I left my spouse, would leave my spouse, told them to lose the weight because it's a turnoff, etc. I'm a skinny chick who married a fat guy. I love him to death, think he's mexy as hell, etc. Here's the thing. He was fat when I met him. He was fat when I dated him. He was fat when I married him. And he will most likely be fat for the rest of his life. That's the difference. He put the same amount of effort into his appearance when we first met as he currently does now, a decade later. There are many things that can cause obesity. Depression can, and a low thyroid can, and all that. But theoretically, if you got depression, and depression causes you to overeat, you're going to be obese at the beginning of the relationship. Because that's you. But if you're a normal weight all your life, then you get settled, and then your relationship with food changes, now that's something altogether different. TLDR, being a fat person is a different thing than suddenly becoming a fat person once someone marries you. Feel free to call me a piece of crap. Love is not blind acceptance. It's about mutual respect and being able to agree to disagree with each other. You respect the other's choice and deal with it as best you can. Your standards can't go out the window just because you love someone though. If someone's changes are extreme enough, it is unreasonable to expect them to still hold the person with such regard. My girlfriend is not skinny, 240 pounds, and she knows I don't like her being as big as she is. I don't mock her in any way and I find her plenty attractive still. I love her and I support her, but if she gained another 100 pounds, I would not want to be with her because it shows how little self-respect she has for herself. If she doesn't have that respect for herself, then how can she possibly give it back? I wouldn't love her any less, but I know I would become very unhappy. It's a two-way street, and your happiness matters equally as much as hers. My wife gained quite a bit of weight after each kid. She isn't as mexy as when we first met, but I still love her. And I still find her attractive because I love her. It is what it is. If she gets tired of it, she will lose it. She should decide to lose the weight for herself, not for me, so I don't pressure her at all. My first wife did this. Not only did she get big, but she wore unflattering clothing to go with it. It was really embarrassing and I couldn't bring myself to walk next to her in public. It was actually pretty sad. Thankfully, she ended up being a bad person, and I was able to get away from the entire situation without feeling bad about it. My ex was a big guy when we dated and married. I never minded. He was my teddy bear. But after a few years, he put on more weight. He wasn't working, which was also a huge strain on our marriage, his inability to hold a job, and basically he sat around playing video games all day. The more weight he gained, the louder he snored. It got to be awful. He sounded like a broken chainsaw. You could hear him several rooms away and over the TV at a normal volume. You could hear him outside, even if all the windows were closed. I'm a light sleeper, so it became impossible for me to sleep in the same room with him. I started sleeping in the guest room, and even then, I needed earplugs. He felt hurt that I wouldn't share a bed with him anymore, but I was working 2 jobs to support us and needed my rest. Between the separate bedrooms, his large size hurting me, I'm a thin person, and me not finding him attractive anymore, mechs stopped happening. He got angry and blamed me. He finally saw a doctor about the snoring because it was causing him health problems. He was tired all the time because the snoring was interfering with his sleep. The doctor was adamant, lose the weight. He refused. I took that as a sign that he didn't care about improving a relationship or his health. I left him. I was in a relationship for 1.5 years with a really amazing girl. But after about 8 months, the arguing started, especially if she had a few drinks. She was insecure and would take it out on me, often. I was very faithful and only had eyes for her, but she would frequently accuse me of having a wandering eye. She couldn't help but start an argument over any interaction I had with a woman, past or present. At first, I kind of liked this attention, but over time, it irritated the hell out of me. A year in, she changed her diet, started losing weight, trying to look good, but it suddenly took a turn. The last 2 to 3 months, she gained 40 to 50 pounds. And I felt a part of myself quickly lose attraction to her body, 5'6", 240 pounds. The last night we were together, she was on top. I felt her stomach heavily pressing against me, as I often did in the last couple months, and I told her, we have to stop. It came out at the worst possible moment. She admitted she gained 100 pounds in the past with her first husband, and she felt ashamed back then. She told me she was afraid I would cheat on her if we stayed together. I told her the same. If I stayed with her, I lacked self-respect and she would cheat on me to be with the guy who had self-respect. We broke up that weekend. It was messy. A few months later, I saw a Facebook picture. She had obviously lost some weight, but like you said, history repeats itself. This is slightly off topic since we're not married and since my girlfriend was very overweight to begin with, but since I've had some success, I'll share anyway. I met my girlfriend 2.5 years ago. She was about 190 pounds at 5'6" then, and slowly added weight until she was about 215 pounds. I'm not exactly in perfect shape either, but I'm nowhere near as fat and have been going to the gym, running, climbing, and martial arts for many years. She had almost no such experience or habits. I didn't want to be a pushy, bumhole boyfriend, both since I don't think it's very nice, I also don't think it's efficient. Fat people who are shamed or pushed regarding their fat usually feel even worse and treat their bodies even worse as well. There was still a lot I could do though. There are so many ways of making the healthy choice easier and making exercise more fun. I invited her to try different forms of exercise that are fun and not too challenging, like soft martial arts, walking, biking, soft weightlifting. I always made it clear that walking for a fat person can be as challenging as jogging for a thin person. The heart rate range is similar. If she was worried about costs, I made sure the healthy choice was the better one economically for her. Basically, I acted like a plow, moving every obstacle to a healthy life away while not doing the same for the unhealthy life. I even made a game where she would win achievement and small gifts for different exercise goals, like going to the first 4 martial arts sessions in a class. Corny, I know. It wasn't all nice though. There's a lot of diabetes and such in her family due to their similar lifestyles and genes, and we had many serious discussions about how she's heading the same way unless she changes direction. Many tough nights of her crying and me balancing between being honest and being supportive. Like for most people, information wasn't the problem. But it's easy to avoid thinking about things like this unless you're forced to. She was always supportive of my informing her and starting discussions. We had so many discussions where she felt like she was getting nowhere. She wasn't, in pounds, but she was changing mentally in her habits. One day, after a particularly hard discussion, she IM'd me, "Okay, give me a meal plan." So I did some calculations of her BMR, etc., and came up with a plan for the first week. She followed it well, and eventually she got the general idea. Weight loss started as soon as she started the meal plan, and seeing how well calorie counting works was very motivating for her. And now 22 pounds and several exercise milestones later, she's still very motivated and still keeps losing weight. We now go to the gym regularly together and take long bike trips as well. Seeing how her old, fat, lazy self is being replaced by a more energetic person is amazing. So, my advice, be understanding. If you can't empathize with your partner, you can't help them. Knowing the physics of weight loss is not enough. Talk, listen. Don't just push them. They have to find motivation within themselves or it's not happening. Good, honest, and complete communication is very important. You both need to trust each other. Understand that weight loss is one of the hardest things you can do. Going from fat to stable weight loss is much harder than going from someone active to marathon runner. Economics is the management of limited resources. Your health is a limited resource. The cost for good food, gym cards, exercise equipment, and clothes is negligible compared to the cost of having bad health. Don't be afraid to spend money on making healthy choices easier to do. TLDR, from fat and really bad eating habits with tons of candy, etc., to a healthy mindset and real results through a loving and non-pushy boyfriend. And that brings us to the end of the video, narwhals. Make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe so you don't miss future weight loss stories coming soon. As I said at the start of the video, feel free to comment narwhal below and I'll try to leave a heart on your comment. Thanks for watching, narwhals, and until next time, be brave, be a narwhal.